Not every hypnoanalysis is easy, and not every hypnoanalysis is successful. Sometimes you meet up with difficult cases which require additional work, more benefit than hypnoanalysis can possibly give. A few years ago, one of my student doctors said, "I have a case of hysterical blindness. This boy sees very well if he wants to see a pretty girl, but let anger, stress, or any excitement of any kind come along, and the boy goes completely blind. He loses his vision." I asked him if there was any pathology, and the doctor assured me he had been able to locate none at all. In fact, several doctors had sought in vain for pathology. I asked him to bring the boy to class the following week. I want you to hear a little part of the interview before the hypnoanalysis.
Did this happen when you were a little boy,
Since I was 4.
Since you were 4.
Yes, sir.
And do you know the cause of it? Do you know what?
I was told it was convulsion
You had a convulsion and it happened after that?
at the age of 3.
Uh-huh. Now, what has been found wrong with your eyes since that time?
I don't know. As near as I can figure out, it's nearsighted. Nobody can find the actual cause.
Oh, well, I'm not talking about the cause. I'm talking about what is the effect. Not the cause, because we'll try and go after the cause. But is there any pathology in those eyes at all? No pathology. No doctor's been able to find any pathology.
When you are working with a person who has hysterical deafness, you know before you start that you are working with a person who does not want to hear. When you are working with a person who is hysterically blind, you know that you are working with a person who does not want to see. Therefore, in working with this case, I knew before we started that there were things this boy did not want to see, and perhaps the very things that he did not want to see were at the root of his problem. I want you to hear the hypnoanalysis just as it occurred, with all the resistance being manifested at the beginning of a person who does not want to see and is afraid to be hypnotized deeply lest he reveals something which would be shocking to himself.
Fred, did you have a very happy childhood? Tell me about it, will you please?
Not particularly.
All right. What was the trouble?
Family arguments.
Who was arguing?
Me and my dad.
What were you arguing with your dad about?
Anything and everything.
Yeah, I want you to go back to the time now when you were about 6 years old, boy, and you probably went to school when you were about 6 years old, is that right?
I started when I was 5.
All right. First grade at 5 or kindergarten?
Kindergarten.
All right. Now, I'm going to take you back to the time when you were in kindergarten. How'd you get along with your daddy when you went to kindergarten?
We had been scrapping for quite some time.
You've been scrapping even at 5 years of age?
Yes, sir.
Now, Fred, an odd thing is going to happen now. I'm going to have you relax your mind so that we can go back and find the first time that you ever scrapped with your dad, huh? Suppose we do that. So I just want you to relax completely. And I want you to start counting back from 100 backwards with the idea that you're going to relax your mind just as you relaxed your body. When you have relaxed your mind, I'll be able to take you back by selective thinking to the first time you ever had an argument with your daddy. All right, now count from 100 backwards and relax. As you do so, you'll see those numbers will just relax right out of your mind before you get to even 98. Try. Now they're going to relax. Now you're forgetting them already. Try and tell me the next number and you'll see how...
99.
Now try and tell me the next and you'll find it's gone.
98.
All right, now try to tell me the next and it just won't be there.
97.
All right, now we're going to have you relax once more because you aren't relaxed. Open your eyes, close them. Now relax completely. Now really relax. Because if you want to relax those numbers out of your mind, you relax them. Just relax that mind to the place where the numbers just disappear. Well, try it this way. Give me your hand. I'm taking the name F-R-E-D. And just like I wrote it there, you can see it in your mind, can't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I'm going to erase it from your hand and erase it from your mind at the same time. There it is, gone completely. Now try to tell me, what did I take off your hand? Gone completely. Can't remember it at all, can you?
No.
All right, that's fine. That's exactly the relaxed state that I want you in. And just keep on staying in that relaxed state. Now, Fred, when you're relaxed like this, I can have you remember things that you probably thought were lost in your memory. They aren't lost in your memory. They're stored in your memory. They're stored right there. I'm going back to the time now when you were just a little bit of a boy. Maybe you were learning to walk. When I snap my fingers, you'll be that little boy learning to walk, and you'll tell me where the scene is, because you'll remember it as clearly as though it just happened a minute or so ago. And you'll tell me where you are and who's teaching you to walk and everything else. There it is. Where are you, Fred?
In the house on Marshall Street. Walking through the dining room, I tripped and broke my right leg in 2 places.
Uh-huh. And how old a little boy were you at that time?
3.
3. All right. Now, what made you trip, Fred?
I stumbled over the carpet.
Uh-huh. Who was helping you at that time?
My old man. My daddy.
Uh-huh. Did you like your daddy at that time?
I got along with him, that's about all.
Uh-huh. Well, for a 3-year-old boy, just to get along with his daddy, what was the reason for the fighting and the fact that a little 3-year-old boy had hostility towards his daddy? What was the reason, Freddie? You'll know when I snap my fingers.
Alcohol.
He was drinking?
Yes, sir.
And he drank too much, was that it? You saw?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. When did you... well, when I snap my fingers, you remember the first time you ever saw him under the influence of alcohol. And you'll be able to tell me the very first time you ever saw it happen. When was it, Fred?
I can't remember when the first time. I know I've seen him several times when I was young.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. Don't try to remember it, Fred. I'm going to take you back now to the time when you were about a year old and probably crawling around on the floor. And when I snap my fingers, you'll be a baby crawling around on the floor. Now, since then, you've learned what alcohol is. But I want you to be the baby crawling around on the floor. You will be. And as you crawl around on the floor, tell me whether you ever saw a man or anybody else under the influence of liquor.
I don't think so.
You don't think so. Now then, you're learning to walk. You're learning to walk. You'll be able to tell me when the very first time was that you saw a person under the influence of liquor, whether it was your dad or anybody else.
It might possibly have been when I was 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't follow, because at 3 you were learning to walk, and at 3 you found that you had resentment against your dad. So that at 3, when you fell and broke your leg, you had resentment against your dad. Did you connect your dad with that accident in any way? Was he intoxicated at the time?
No, he was sober, but I just felt that he had let go too soon, that's all.
He had let go too soon. In other words, there was lack of confidence in your dad even at 3 years of age. Is that it?
Sir?
Uh-huh. How did you get along with your mother?
Very well.
Mm-hmm. How did she get along with your dad?
No good.
No good. Even
They were always fighting.
Even at that time?
Yes, sir.
Even when you were 3 years old. Let's go back to the time of your first memory, the first memory you ever had in your lifetime. And you tell me, when I snap my fingers, what is the first memory you ever had in your lifetime? Then we go to the second one and so on. There's the first. Or what is it?
When I broke my leg, that's as far back as I can go.
Uh-huh. That's as far back as you think you can go back.
Yeah.
That isn't as far back as you can go. That's as far back as you think you can go. Because we can take you right back to the time when you were a year old or so, when your mind was in its very formative stages. All right, now then, as I talk to you and count to 10, you're going to go back to the time when you were a little boy of 3, and you will relive the entire experience. It won't seem as though it was yesterday, or the day before, or 20 or more years ago, but it will seem as though it is now, this minute, you will relive the incident completely, with the exception, of course, that you won't break your leg. But you will relive it as a dream which is so vivid to you that it appears now. So as I count to 10, you will regress in age to the time when this incident occurred. At the count of 10, I will snap my fingers and you'll be that little boy of 3. You'll talk like the little boy of 3. You'll act like the little boy of 3. And you'll be able to think as that little boy of 3 thought. And I will take you just to the very first time you ever saw something that you didn't understand in the behavior pattern of your dad. Expect it to happen, watch it happen, and just wait for it to happen. Don't try for it, it will be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now you're that little boy of 3. Freddie, where are you?
Home.
Where?
In the living room.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
What's happening? Is anybody coming in the room or anything?
No, sir.
Are you all alone in the room?
Yes, sir.
Oh, now, you be all alone in this room, and now you're going to live through the events that happen. Now tell me the events as they happen. Tell me what's happening. The whole thing will come clear to you. You'll relive it again. Now watch yourself relive it. Watch the scene and tell me what's happening.
I have no memory of them. I can't actually tell you what did go on.
You're rejecting it because you do have a memory of it. It's just stored there, and you can remember it very well. There must be something unpleasant about it that you don't remember. Did you used to get pretty many spankings from your dad?
No, sir.
You didn't get spanked. How did he treat you?
Yeah, as well as any other dad, but I just didn't care for him, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Anybody ever say anything about your dad?
No, sir. Not when I was small like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to follow these instructions, and you'll find that you will actually relive the scene that I told you about. It's there, and I want you to relive all of it, and you'll want to relive all of it, Fred, when you understand what this means. If we can get back to the cause, we can probably remove the cause. There was some reason why you didn't want to see your dad. And in trying not to see your dad, you gave yourself this faulty vision. I'm almost certain, but I want to make absolutely certain by knowing just what your inner thoughts were, what a little child of 3 thought, and all that sort of thing, because as I understand it, this has been happening since that accident occurred. Is that right?
I sort of lost you, Doc.
Has this been happening ever since you broke your leg that time on the floor?
What situation is that?
The situation of where you have the faulty vision.
Yes, sir.
It happened with that day.
Yes, sir.
That day. That's why that thing is an unpleasant memory to you, and so you sort of blocked it out.
It was slowly falling, and when I was 5, then I started to fall over everything.
I want you to follow these instructions. Really relax. Because, Fred, up to a point you have relaxed, but you haven't relaxed to the point where these things will come back, and I want the importance of them coming back to you established now in your mind. I want you to think to yourself that if we can get at the cause, Fred, maybe we can destroy the cause, and then the effect won't be there. And you'll see all right, and you won't be disturbed in times of stress, and you'll be able to see all right. So let's go back to this fall that you took at the age of 3. You see yourself sitting alone in the parlor. Is that what you saw?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, when I tell you to open and close your eyes, you go about 10 times deeper and you remember everything. Open your eyes. Now close them. Now really relax. Now then, you're in the parlor. You're going to have that dream. It won't be a dream. It'll be an actual reliving of the scene. You're in the parlor. Coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. You can see things. This was probably the cause of the whole trouble that you had all your lifetime since. This was the cause. We're at the cause, Fred. Let's get the cause out of there and find out what was really in this 3-year-old's mind. Okay, so I'm going to count to 10 again. And you'll be in the parlor, and that whole scene will take place. Expect it to take place. Look for it to take place. Don't search for it. It'll be there. And don't try to have it take place. Just say to yourself, it's going to be there. I want to find out what did happen. And you'll find suddenly that blockage is removed, and that whole scene will come back to you, including the initial scare and how you were panicked about breaking your leg in 2 places and all that sort of thing. And don't be afraid of that panic, Fred, because that happened many, many years ago. And you know that you're all over the effects and everything, so you don't have to be afraid of it. But we want to find out what caused that fall. So when I count to 10, you'll start reliving that whole experience. You'll be able to tell me everything that happened. Now, 1. First open and close your eyes so that I know that you're going deeper. Now, go deeper. Now, when I count to 10, expect it to be there. Expect it to happen and watch for it happen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Deeper now. 5. Deeper. I'm going to raise your hand and see how much deeper you are. Oh, that's got to be loose. Relax, Fred. Relax. My God, Fred, you want to relax, don't you? Relax that hand. Nothing's going to happen. You're just going to remember this. Relax it. Now let every muscle in your body go loose now. Completely loose. It's heavy. Let's see if it just drops. That's it. That's what I mean. Now, you see how much deeper you are now? See the difference, Fred? All right. Now then. Now I'm going to count to 10 and watch it happen. Keep yourself relaxed like that. Because if we can get you rid of this cause, you won't have the effect. You know that. Nothing ever happens without a cause. And we're going after the cause. So we can destroy the effect. You want us to, don't you, Fred?
Yes, sir.
All right, then let's go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There it is. And what happened?
I don't really remember.
Sit in the parlor now. Where are you in the parlor? Are you on a chair?
On the floor.
What are you doing?
Sitting watching.
What are you watching?
Nothing.
All right, watch that nothing for a while. Somebody coming in the room?
No, sir.
When I snap my fingers, you'll see what happened right after that. Now what happened?
Well, it
coming back, yes. Don't be afraid of it. Let it come back. What happened?
I guess maybe my dad was going to go out and I wanted to go with him, and I tripped over the rug and told the rest that he let go.
Oh. So this whole thing happened by you not having told the exact truth. Is that it, Fred?
It's quite possible.
In other words, your feelings towards your dad were really a guilt complex. Is that what it was, Fred?
I would rather imagine so.
In other words, you don't have any real feelings of hostility towards your dad, but these were manufactured because you were injured and somehow blamed him because he wasn't going to take you with him. Was that it?
Not at the time. I guess that was the reason, but since then I've picked up a...
It was manufactured reason. Right?
No, sir. After that, I've had a factual reason.
That's right. But nevertheless, don't you think those reasons were stimulated by the fact that you went looking for them? You didn't want to be proven wrong. This is the first time in your life you ever realized, again, that you lied about your daddy, isn't it?
Yes, sir.